very important value proposition, and I think it's at the heart of the real financial value of music, and that is music's ability to draw a crowd. Music moves the heart and the soul and the head. It does. And this is its greatest financial value, is its ability to draw a crowd to a restaurant, to a radio station, to a television station, to any of a number of different places. And traditionally, the sound recording business has been about controlling the quantity and the destiny of each sound recording and exacting a price for it. And I don't disagree with you. There should be a price for that. It should be handsome. It should be paid. You should collect it. Yes. But we are now losing control of the quantity and destiny of sound recordings to the point that it has become voluntary to pay for them. And I don't mean legally or morally voluntary, but I do mean that it is now a choice that anyone in this audience makes if they are asked to go hear a song. And so if we are losing control, and clearly we are, if it is voluntary to pay, and our economy is now a tip jar on this side, it is worth exploring music's ability to draw a crowd. Music's ability to bring people into restaurants or radio stations or to network operators. Now, I have gone to every ISP sign-up page, and in every one of these pages, music is prominently featured, and in fact, some of the ISPs say, well, if you buy this plan, you can download 9 CDs an hour, and if you buy this plan, you can download 18 CDs an hour, and there is no question but that these fine companies, with their expertise in marketing, have accurately figured out that it is music and media that draws the crowd to them. And I say only that we should exact a price and license to them in much the same fashion that publishers have license to radio stations, restaurants, hotel lobbies, you name it.
But let's be clear, though. There's one very important difference between what Jim is saying here vis-a-vis chorus and what we've heard so much of from labels. When he says exact a price from the network operator, he doesn't mean at the point of a lawyer. He doesn't mean we will try to sue AT&T for providing the internet to people, which is too much of what we've heard for too long. What he's saying, and what I think the future promises, is the network operators will recognize there's something in this for them too. The key here is both sides realizing there's an upside. Imagine, you're right, Verizon, AT&T, these guys often advertise, hey, you want to download your iTunes faster? Buy this program. But imagine how much better it is for them if they could actually go out there and advertise all the music you want, right, for free, so long as you pay for this plan, which has a fee built into it, which then gets paid back to rights holders. That's a product that they could use to sell a lot more residential broadband, which is what they need to do. And that's why I'm cautiously optimistic about this, because it's not that these network providers will be forced at the point of a gun to basically pay eternal tithe to this set of copyright owners, but rather there's a win-win here. We know people are going to download the music one way or another. It seems to me we should be able to do better than zero, and I think some kind of blanket license makes sense, and that doesn't preclude building additional business models, right? I don't know how many people here are Neil Young fans, but Neil Young just came out with a $220 box Blu-ray set of unreleased recordings from 1970, like 69 to 72. That is something I will buy, no question, right, because of the value that that represents. But if you're asking a typical college student to pay $30,000 to fill their brand new iPod, that's really not realistic. So I think we can have a basic monetization layer for what people are going to do anyway, share all the music they love with all their friends in any format they like, and on top of that, build additional models, touring, clubs, all the kinds of things that David's talking about. Those things are not, mutually exclusive. Right now, the music industry only has what David's talking about. They're not getting paid a penny for 90% of what's going on the internet. I'm saying we can do better than that.
I can also add to that equation, whether we like it or not, 35,000 lawsuits were initiated by the RIAA for downloading.
Well, since we're talking equations, and David, I absolutely agree with you, there's got to be money. And I don't know what the right price point and what the penetration rates are, but I will tell you this. At $8 a month, every 10 million people is $1 billion for music. At $8 a month, every 10 million people is $1 billion. There are 84 million customers at AT&T and over 90 million at Verizon. I don't know what the right price point is. I don't know at what point people voluntarily opt in, but I'm damn sure going to find out over the next year if I possibly can.
So
now you get it, and that's the point. So David and I can be happy getting money from people, servicing product in harmony.
So in the interim, until we get the results from the chorus experiment, I'd like to talk a little bit about
that our music is generating. And our music is drawing people into restaurants, to radio stations, to television stations, to network operators. Our music is more relevant than ever drawing people in. But our methods for collecting that money are less relevant than ever. And what happened in 1847? Bourget sat down with Victor Hugo and Henri de Balzac, and they formed the first collective monetization society for music in the history of the world. It was called SACEM. And it spread very quickly to over 100 countries around the world and numerous operations. This is the same way to address the issue of my music draws a crowd, how do I get paid? I think there should be music products, but I also think that those who make sound recordings should have more levels of income than waiting for the box to be sold off the back of the truck or downloaded at $1 a song. Our music draws crowds, and we should collect when it does. And today, only songwriters are collecting for the most part, except Sound Exchange has built us a business at webcasting, and in other countries around the world, we're collecting from radio. And those of us who make sound recordings have to look and say, why is it that all of these levels of income, our sound recordings are used, but we do not glean a dollar? And while one is declining, we should look to grow this particular line item. And I'm not saying we should jump into the bull with both feet. I think we need to test these waters. I think we need to experiment with how to allocate the money. What are the metrics? What are the right price points? How can ISPs be involved? How can it be helpful to them? Many have gone even further than the law permits them in many cases in using our sound recordings to draw this crowd. Some are even caching our music to make peer-to-peer cheaper so that their bandwidth goes up. That's a commercial use of our music. It's wrong, and yet I think we need the money more than we need the litigation. I think we need to be known as the industry you come to work out a deal with, not the one you avoid and wait for them to tap you on the shoulder.
The irony, of course, is the one thing that's holding all the labels back, and I think the publishers too, from embracing this, is this requires them to recognize that all of the unauthorized copies, the quid pro quo is that all has to be legit, right? Fans are not going to pay a recurring monthly fee and then be told, oh, and by the way, we're still going to reserve the right to sue you. And oh, by the way, we're still going to put DRM on that music. And oh,
so
by the way,
ultimately,
that's got to go.
You're ultimately talking about changing the value of music, and that seems to be the biggest concern. And one other point, and that is that we're really only talking about a test here. We're getting all heated when we haven't yet even done the test. Okay, I'm afraid, I apologize, but I'm told we're out of time.